Hey guys, welcome back to Mo's Game Table. Today we're going to take a look inside the box for It Started Here, LZ X-Ray from Lock and Load Publishing. It's another in the Battles on Demand line. This was a really intense battle. Ayadrang Valley, 1965. It was right before Thanksgiving. If you've seen the movie or read the book We Were Soldiers by Colonel Helmore, you'll know that that's who led the troops into battle. This was the new air cav. This was a new concept, a new thing that was put together. And as the famous line by Colonel Moore was, he would be the first one on the battlefield and the last one off, and he will not leave any man behind. And a testament to his leadership, he was able to take a unit that was primarily made of draftees and turn them into a formidable fighting force. And another testament to the man and his leadership is in Korea and Vietnam, his time in both of those wars, he never lost a man in combat. He lost troops, I should say. He never left a man behind. So that is a remarkable leader that man was. So let's take a look at the back of the box here. Complexity level is about a 5. Solitaire playability is 7. Ages 10 and up, 1 to 2 players, 1 to 2 hour playing time. Comes with map, 2-player aid cards, manual, and counter sheets. This is a look at the map, and then you have your counters here. And the back of the box text says, It Started Here, LZ X-Ray is a simulation of the air assault by the 1-7 Air Cavalry Battalion into the Ayadrang Valley in mid-November 1965. This platoon-level game tells the story of the Air Cav's desperate fight for survival against the overwhelming strength of 3 NVA regiments. This newly revised edition comes complete with new maps, counters, and updated rules. Test your strategies and outthink your opponent using infantry platoons, machine gun sections, mortar batteries, and helicopter sections in furious jungle warfare. So, take a look inside the box. First off, gotta say that I really dig that cover. That is great color scheme and wonderful looking cover. I'm going to back this out a little bit. There we go. No, I zoomed in so we can get the whole cover. But that's a look at the cover. And we've got manual, player aid cards, your maps. It's actually double-sided maps. One map with 2 maps on there and your counter sheet. So, I just popped out a counter. So let's flip this over here. This is one side of the map, and here is the other side of the map. So you get 2 maps in one, and we'll take a look at these player aid cards. You've got your terrain effects chart that gives you your terrain, how it affects line of sight, your movement cost, and column shifts in combat. Turn record sheet is right here, and then you have random events in this game. You roll dice, and it will give random events that will affect either side, either the NVA or the Americans. And then you have your fire results in close assault tables here, and that is it. Those are your 2 player aid cards. And here is a look at your counters. As you can tell, the Americans are definitely outnumbered. You've got your American units here, you've got your NVA, and then you have VC units down here as well. For the Americans, you've got infantry companies, you've got heavy weapons platoons. In each company, you have 3 infantry platoons, you have a heavy weapons company, and then you have your leader. You also have helicopters that are for transport and attack, and they can hover, and that's how they're going to do their attack. And I keep almost punching out these counters, but being that they're already falling out, let's punch one out the rest of the way and give you guys a better look at what the counter looks like. But that is a look at one of the NVA counters. These are nice, thick counters, laser cut, rounded corners already, so you don't have to worry about clipping them or anything. And then for the NVA, they have the same breakdown. They've got infantry platoons and then a heavy weapons platoon. And you've got multiple companies there, and then you've got VC as well. They're going to be handled in the same way. And that is a look at the counters. Now let's take a look inside the manual. In the manual, it goes to page 18. You've got 4 scenarios. They start on page 12. The rules start on page 3 and go all the way down to page 10. So you got about 7 pages of rules, so not super complex. Pretty simple, as most of these Battles on Demand games are. They're intended to be opened up and punched and just sit down at the table and start playing pretty quick. You have your breakdown of your counters, what each part of the counter is. You've got your unit color, morale, unit designation, close assault, firepower, range, and movement. You've got infantry, scouts, heavy machine guns, mortars, attack helicopters, transport helicopters, and leaders. And it explains how these all break down. They're color coded for your infantry companies, for your different platoons. As I said, you've got U.S. Army, you've got NVA and VC, and sequence of play, basically start off rolling for an event and seeing what happens. Rally phase, and then you go into your movement, your fire movement, and close assault phase. Then it's the NVA player's turn, and they do the same thing. You have your movement, fire combat rules, fire combat procedures, line of sight, opportunity fire, close assault, and then how your helicopters work. They work in 2 modes, flying and hovering. Default mode is flying, and when hovering, you just mark them with one of those hovering counters that we saw. Helicopters can change mode once per turn during the American movement phase. So flying helicopters cannot attack. They have to be hovering to attack. So you've got to make a choice as to, do you want to move them or do you want to attack where they're at? Hopefully you can move them into position to be able to attack and not have them be wasted out there, not be able to support your troops. You have your mortars, you've got artillery, airstrikes, that's your fire support, and then you've got your scenarios here. Scenario 1 is Desperate Hours. That is elements of 1-7 Air Cav air assault into LZ X-ray find themselves immediately overwhelmed by superior NVA force. Fighting doggedly for hours, they battle to retain both a tenuous foothold on the clearing and for their very survival. With air on station, artillery at their disposal, soldiers never waver. They know that losing the landing zone is not an option. Without it, reinforcements cannot arrive. They will not fail. That is the start of the battle, and this is pretty much how it did work out historically. They landed, and I believe they captured an NVA soldier, and that's when they found out that they were heavily outnumbered, and there were some NVA, a large number of NVA spoiling for a fight. Didn't take long before the Americans were knee-deep in it. Scenario 2, Relentless. After gaining the landing zone, 1-7 Air Cav must not only defend it, but expand its perimeter against ferocious attacks from the elements of the NVA 33rd, 66th, and 32nd Regiments. The Communist forces are driven with renewed fervor. Gaining ground will not be easy. And then you have Scenario 3, which is Stand Your Ground. This is dawn November 15th, 1965, day 2 of the battle. Proves to be its most costly. Communist forces unleash a devastating assault, and the air cav responds by standing their ground, giving no quarter. The fighting is hand-to-hand, personal, and brutal. And that will close out the 3 main scenarios. And an extra scenario here has been added following a terse engagement in the outer AO of Firebase Juliet. A retreating VC force works hard to evade elements of the 1st Air Cavalry as they attempt to vanish back into the jungle. Bravo Company has been tasked as a reactionary force to assist Alpha and Charlie companies in eliminating their quarry and gain any usable intel that they can. The first 3 scenarios, this is all the Battle of LZ X-ray, and then this is added in here about the AO of Firebase Juliet as kind of like an additional scenario to round things out. But that is what you get in the box with It Started Here, LZ X-ray. This is available now from Lock and Load Publishing. You can get it in print-on-demand format, which is this, or you can also get the print and play, so that way if you are artsy craftsy, you can do it yourself, save yourself a couple bucks. But definitely look at that map. I mean, the map is beautiful and nice, good, thick cardstock. You have these really cool laser cut counters, nice thick counters. Save you a lot of trouble and save your fingers a lot of wear and tear if you get it print on demand. So definitely give that one a look if you like Vietnam theater, if that's your thing, or if you've watched the movie or read the book We Were Soldiers. This will definitely give you a good feel for it. Pretty simple game. You can get a game knocked out in about an hour and have a lot of fun with it. That is It Started Here, LZ X-ray from Lock and Load Publishing. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.